It is extremely humbling to know that at the start of the year, I made a video on saying no to things, on avoiding burnout, and 2 to 3 months later, I am back on this channel having burnt out. Not completely, like I'm still here, but definitely, yeah, definitely like not where I would like to be. So to begin, welcome back. My name is Éireann. This is The Student Journey, a channel dedicated to supporting you through your own student journey via information, advice, guidance, as well as sharing a bit about my own. Today is a mix of both. We're talking burnout, we're talking stress, and trying to regather yourself and move forward. I've been through it. I wear, as I've said in every video, I wear more hats than I have heads. I have too many jobs on the side, too many side projects, as well as trying to do a full-time PhD. And no one's forcing me to do this. It's a problem. And it's a problem that no one has put onto me but myself. But as a disclaimer, it's important to note that a whole host of life events, external circumstances, and things beyond my control have really disrupted my ability to do my work in the way I normally would. Now, that's not to say, I don't do too much work. I think that is a true statement to make. But I do normally handle that work, and I do normally somehow function juggling a whole host of projects and responsibilities. I think burnout has occurred at this point because of additional logistical, emotional, health-related, physical stresses. So I'm not, I don't know if I'm saying that to boost my ego and be like, on a good day, I could do all of this. But it has taken those external events to really interrupt and remind me that I should not be doing this much. So with that in mind, let's talk about burnout. So this video is, quite reflective. It's not necessarily a WHO approved, content piece on burnout and how it works and what to look out for. So I don't want to pretend I am a psychologist. We can bring a psychologist on one day and talk through some of these things. But based on my understanding of burnout, it is very much an occupational thing. It's not a medical condition. It's just something that is looked out for in the workplace, and can be presented through being emotionally distanced from your work, maybe making more mistakes than usual, being a bit emotionally detached from your colleagues, feeling less motivated. I have definitely just stopped doing certain aspects of my work, where I have responsibility for others, where there is a well-being component or a student support component. I have 100% showed up and tried to be my best self. But when it comes to, say, my PhD or something that doesn't necessarily have anyone at the end of it, I have really dropped the ball. And sometimes that was unconscious. Now it's completely conscious, and it's just part of the process of getting myself back together and prioritizing different things in whichever order is most appropriate. But it's been difficult, and I'll talk about this later, but I am taking the steps to make sure there isn't so much on my plate, and that what is on my plate I'm handling well. But to think a bit about burnout, what it is and what it looks like and how to handle it, I think it's really important to think of an analogy and to think of yourself as a person driving a car. Now, if you get I know notification is the wrong word, but a little notification on your dashboard saying something's up with your car, what a sensible person would do is see where the next service station is, pull up over and investigate the issue, try and see what's wrong. If they need external help, they will call AA or whichever provider you prefer in terms of your car services. And that's probably the best thing to do. Thinking of burnout, if you can see something's wrong, like, stopping, taking a step back to assess and trying to investigate what the problem is and how to fix it. Now, what a silly person would do is they would be like, I see that, I acknowledge it, but we're just going to keep going. And I definitely operate in that mode all the time apart from now. I think if anything, I am even sillier, and I sometimes just speed up. And I'm like, okay, I can see there's a problem, but let's just, go 100 miles per hour to the next checkpoint to try and get through this. That is a terrible idea. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. As my supervisor says, do as I say, not as I do. That is a bad idea. I don't think I am necessarily at the service station. I'm trying to get to the service station. I think for now I have, as a driver, pulled up onto the hard shoulder, and I'm like, okay, this car is pretty dangerous. Let's hop out real quick. And that's where I'm at. I don't think I have completely broken, and I know that in some cases of occupational burnout, there are people who are struggling to leave bed and go to work. There are people who are struggling to find the motivation to do anything. I am so grateful, so grateful to God that that is not me. If I have learned anything about myself, it is that I am blessed with a insane survival instinct. And before, I thought if there was ever an apocalypse, if I was ever in a zombie movie, I would be first to go. That is not true. I really feel like in the last 3 weeks, I've proven to myself that I have a high innate drive to survive and to make it through things. And I think that's worth saying with regards to the PhD, that like the PhD can definitely be first to go. I know this is a channel dedicated to being a student. I know that half of what is like written about me on the internet implies that I would live and die for education, but like I really won't. I existed before I studied education. I survived and I thrived before, I went to university, and I can do so without it. Like, that's not to undermine these things or to suggest they're not a big part of my, identity and the things I care about. But like, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your well-being, like, no, I'm sorry. Is having the title doctor going to save me? No. Is having a PhD from this uni going to save me? No. Like, it's important 100%, but it'll never be the most important thing. And that has been really like grounding to remind myself. So in terms of staying well, in terms of taking care of myself, that has been, both a mental and physical endeavor. It's just, again, about survival, about keeping myself going, about allowing myself to slow down where I need to slow down, allowing myself to feel sad if I need to feel sad, leaving every day, even if what I'm doing isn't productive. So leaving the house, going to a faculty, even if I don't necessarily perceive the work I'm doing to be as productive. But I think that also speaks to the fact that I have really forced myself to shift my idea of productivity. And yeah, that might just be a temporary shift. Right now, me taking care of myself is productive. Me feeding myself is productive. Me seeing my friends is productive. And I'm sure that like when things are good and I have the energy, I might not see that as much, but it's something I'd really like to hold on to, because again, it's so much more important than my PhD. It's so much more important than my work. And with that in mind, I really, from the bottom of my heart, sorry, I'm so rubbish at like express myself or being emotional, but like I really, really, really appreciate all the friends who have like shown up for me in a whole host of ways. Like, I have my ways of coping, and which include sometimes withdrawal and isolation and like stuff like that. And like, friends have been nothing but understanding. And if any of you are watching this, I love you. I appreciate you. I cannot ever express in words like how grateful I am to have you in my life. And that really ranges from people who I have seen like 4 times a week, to people who I've just met up with one-off, or who have sent memes, or who have like, you know, engaged in really like silly conversations or in deep, meaningful conversations. And something I feel proud of, I guess, is the fact that like things have become so difficult to manage, but that I have no choice but to be honest. So when people are like, oh, are you doing better? Often I'm like, no. Like, no, not really, but I'm here. And that's not to be bleak, and that's also not to be curt. I'm not necessarily good at being vulnerable in front of people and showing people I'm not doing well, but if I can say with my words like, no, I'm not where I want to be, and not feel like I'm putting on a fake smile, that feels really powerful. And yeah, I don't necessarily know where I'm going with this, but I'm just so grateful to my friends for showing up for me in so many ways. And yeah, like I'm really blessed. I'm really grateful. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. On the note of work, I'll get back to my PhD. Like it will be fine. There is no other option but for it to be fine. And if it's not fine, that's okay. I will be fine. So I'm going to get back to it maybe in about a week. Term has just ended at Cambridge and I'm going to leave for a week and just take a kind of physical step back from this place. I will probably do what I'm doing, which is do work that is necessary or that has a deadline or that has, you know, a person at the other end of it. But I have definitely slowed down the pace as much as I am able to. So that's that moving forward. I didn't necessarily think about how to end this video. I'm sure, yeah, when things are good and I feel able to be structured, I will do a like 5 top tips for not burning out. In all honesty, those were in the last video. I just didn't take them on board. And as I said, there are external circumstances that I just can't necessarily control. So please, whoever you are, if you're watching this, like do take care of yourself. And do know that like your health, your well-being, all of that comes before everything. Like your degree, your course, your work, like yes, they are important, but you too are also important. So yeah, try and take that on board. Try to remember that things other than the traditional definitions of productivity can be productive, and they are productive if your goal isn't about, I don't know, credentials, or isn't about titles or that degree at the end. It's about you being well. It's about others around you being well. It's about leading the life you want to live. And yeah, please do take that forward. I don't know. I didn't really plan anything to close this off. But if you are interested in following this journey, even if it's on the hard shoulder at the moment, parked up with the bonnet open, feel free to like, subscribe, and yeah, enjoy the content, share your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah.